Well, just like that, it's Thursday. Hey, I know that some of you out in Twitter land are probably, well, you wouldn't know this because we're not on Twitter. I just got a notification that says that a premium account on Twitter is required to create live broadcast on their platform. I don't know if that's something new. If you are on Twitter currently and you're getting this message, please, by all means, or if you're on Twitter, I should say, and you're seeing the live stream, please let me know. For some reason, I'm going to have to work behind the scenes and figure out what's going on. Uh, I thought we had a premium account, but maybe we're not getting the right box checked to make sure that we are live on X/Twitter. But anyhow, thank you for joining us today here at the DPB show. As it says down below, don't forget to subscribe. Obviously, we can't do it without you. You know, it's the people that drive everything. We're seeing that played out right now more than ever. The latest media lies. Folks, as I've said since the beginning of the year, we are going to be in unparalleled times. We know that the last 10 days, if the last 10 days are indicative of what we will see in the next 100 days leading up to election day, we need to be prepared. Please, whatever you do, there's so much chatter out there. In fact, before I even came on air today, we've locally within our own Republican Party here in my county, we have individuals who still are resistant to to uh, to the chatter, as I said, of people not wanting to vote for Trump who are Republicans. I'm sorry. If somebody is not willing to vote for Trump at this point, they are not a Republican. They might be an independent, they might be a persuadable voter, but they're not a Republican. Republicans have united. That's what happened last week. I was physically present at the RNC convention. I know this to be the fact. Mike Pompeo was there. Nikki Haley was there. Ron DeSantis was there. Tim Scott was there. We've already settled that. We have moved on. We also knew a long time ago that Joe Biden wasn't going to be the nominee. He didn't have a chance at winning this election against Trump fairly. We also know that they're going to do anything that they can to remain in power. They're not going to give it up. So we have to be prepared. The media is going to continue to lie. Obviously, how do I know this? Well, just grab any clip that's going on right now. I'm going to share a quick screen of what's happening out there. Here it is right here. This is a series of different individuals reporting on what they believe is to be factual. And this is what we're
The border is closed. The border is secure. The border is secure. The border is closed. The border is secure, and the border is not open.
We have a secure border.
I can tell you the border is secure.
By what measure is it secure now, sir? So there is not a common definition.
The president has done more to secure the border and to deal with this issue of immigration than anybody else. He really has.
We're certainly doing a lot more to secure the border.
As you know, the president has done everything that he can. He's done that alone without the help of Republicans.
Why aren't you guys stopping the flow at the border?
We are stopping the flow at the border.
Secretary Mayorkas, do you continue to maintain that the border is secure?
Yes, and we are working day in and day out to enhance its security.
The removal of Title 42 does not mean the border is open.
The border is secure, but we also have a broken immigration system.
We have done a lot of work here to fix this system.
I think the message is, in fact, not to come to the border.
I don't think the more than 1.5 million people who have been removed or expelled from the border would consider the border open.
Somebody walks into Texas or Arizona unvaccinated, they're allowed to stay. Why?
But that's not how it works. Like we actually, no,
I know that that's not what you guys want to happen, but that is what is happening.
but that's not, it's not like somebody walks over and
No,
that's
they
not,
do.
that's
They
not
walk
how,
Exactly what's happening.
They actually walk over. They actually walk over. Yes, they do. That's what they do. They walk over the border. This is, folks, when we are relying upon people who have lied over and over and over, there's a laundry list. The list is very long over the past 8 years. And I don't need to rehearse that for you. I know you guys know it. And once again, we're not really settling anything here. These folks are in the full-fledged meltdown. They now have installed, and I use the word for emphasis, installed a new candidate. They haven't even had their convention yet, and they've already made a decision. Kamala Harris has been installed as their candidate today. We are still a couple of weeks away from their convention. Anything could happen. She might not be the candidate. It looks that way that she is going to be, but she might not be. They are trying to see, is she going to be able to get off of the launch pad? Unfortunately, she's not firing very well right now. Rasmussen polls that are truly indicative and somewhat have a historical basis to them. Of course, polls are polls, but they still show Trump with the same lead as he had before Biden decided, or I should say, before the Democrat Party in the Obama administration decided to change hitters. Trump is leading. Trump is still building momentum. They needed something to transpire coming out of that convention last week. They know what they're up against. This is the reality. I am seeing, let me give you an example. Yesterday, I was at a farm implement store delivering a 4x4 Trump sign. And there was a young man coming up on his scooter. This man, because I don't like to play identity politics, but he was a black man. And he saw my Trump sign and he raised his fist and said, "Go Trump, go Trump." I'm not buying the media lies. And I'm encouraging you not to buy them either. You just heard what I played. That was from Media Research, who does a great job. Go out on X and look them up. Tons of material out there. And you know what? If you're sensing that I'm a little bit agitated, I am. Folks, stop jumping off the cliff. We are in the driver's seat. We are leading this country for the first time in over 4 years or 3.5 years. We have the momentum. We are gaining more momentum every day. There is not a candidate that they can put up. And I don't care who you mention, whether it's Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, they have lost it. Why have they lost it? It's easy. The economy. As James Carville, one of the leading political strategists on their side of the aisle, has said over and over, it's the economy, stupid. They continue to lie about that. How do I know that? Well, once again, I've got a little Joe Biden-esque telling us all about how the economy is so great. And let me pull that up for you real quick and make sure that I've got it loaded. I'm doing this without my producer today, AKA my beautiful wife. But let's these are Joe's words. Once again, I don't have to sit back and give you some diatribe about what is going on, because we can see it right before our eyes. Here's Joe Biden in his own words. And this wasn't too long ago. This was just a few months ago. Here's Joe Biden.
Look, I'm not a young guy. That's no secret. But here's the deal. I understand how to get things done for the American people. I led the country through the COVID crisis.
There you
Today, we have the strongest economy in the world.
Strongest economy
I
in the
believe
world.
the job of the president is to fight for you, the American people. And that's what I'm doing. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Can we do one more take?
Look, I'm very young, energetic, and handsome. What the hell am I doing this for? Look, I'm not a young guy.
No, you're not a young guy. In fact, that's the other thing. What in the world has transpired with this man and his health? And the flip-flopping that goes back and forth. Is Joe up to running the country or not? Is Joe up to running for president? Obviously not. But that's not the reason he gave last night on primetime TV from the Oval Office, where he took advantage of the Oval Office and did a full-fledged commercial for Kamala, which I believe is a violation of federal election laws. You can't be using the Oval Office, Joe, to be what's the word I'm looking for? We do it politicking. It's not politicking. I was going to say racketeering, because that's what it was last night. It was a racket. And these things are going to continue to happen. It's just not an isolated incident. We know the mainstream media, they were so lost coming out of and defeated coming out of the Republican National Convention. They had to do something. This is part and parcel to why it is that Kamala is in there now, is because, she was their plan B. Ryan just jumped on screen, so I wanted to get him in here. But that's what they're looking for. The media itself is in a state of panic. And so what they're going to do is lie, and lie more, and then lie about lying, and then continue to lie. And you and I have to be vigilant. We know who ultimately is going to win this election. Donald J. Trump is going to be the next president of the United States. I've got a little indication that I shared with you earlier. Donald put this up on Truth Social, so I'm going to share it with you guys now. Nope, it did not click on. Let me see if I can get that again. There it is. Right here. This is the Rasmussen poll. And these are people who actually poll, and it's something. In fact, his comment is, why doesn't Fox News' Martha McCallum use these poll numbers from Rasmussen, a real pollster? And here are those numbers right there. They have not moved since riding with Biden, with James Clyburn. I thought he was riding with Biden. That's the black vote, right?
Yeah.
James Clyburn. He was riding with Biden.
What's the phrase he's going to use now for going with Kamala? We'll have to think of something creative.
Well, I don't know if he should say riding with Harris, because that wouldn't be good. He'll take a hit if he does that. But right here, Ryan, this is what's interesting. They have to create lift for Kamala.
Yeah.
They've got to get her off the launch pad. She's not going to get off the launch pad.
No.
In fact, they haven't even officially nominated her yet. So
they're sneakily doing it behind closed doors soon. Before
well, but Ryan, one of the things I believe is they're less than 100 days away from, or just about 100 days from election day.
Mm-hmm.
They're less than 40 something days for early voting in North Carolina, and then Illinois is September 22nd.
Yep.
They were way late. They knew they were in trouble. They knew they were in trouble because they had it was being, uncovered. What the press secretary was telling us that no, Joe, these are cheap fakes. The Republicans, I mean, this was just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, that's all they do is lie.
that
Yeah.
Jean Pierre was
Yep.
saying these were cheap fakes.
Yeah, the video that Obama was dragging his hand off stage, and then they backed out of the Zoom to make it look like he wasn't, and he was on his own. We've seen the videos for the last 3.5 years or longer that Joe Biden was a frail candidate, and they knew it. They just
Well,
thought
and
they could hide him this long.
well, and then who's doing the hiding? It's these folks. Once again, this is the definition of deep state, the media,
hmm
the people who decided it was time for Joe Biden to pull out. The deal that was created. If you believe what Joe Biden said last night for the betterment of the country, this man has never done anything for the betterment of the country. He's done it for the betterment of Joe Biden and his family. He's played politics for 50 years.
hmm
He's enriched himself off of the taxpayers' dole. Dole.
Doll. Did you see the faces on his family that were in the room? I don't know if it was
In the Oval Office,
in the Oval
supposedly.
Office. Yeah.
Supposedly. in the Oval
Allegedly is in the
Office.
Oval Office. Their faces were either sad because he's got a health problem or sad that the money ride and the grift is over. That they looked mortified that he had to do this. So you can't sit there and tell me that they were happy that he was doing this. And he wasn't doing on his own accord. Oh, no matter what he tells you in the office, he was forced out. And we saw it. We knew it.
Well, and once again, that's the lack of transparency.
Yeah.
You know, I heard it on Bongino today. He mentioned even, and he was talking about Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI. Even if the FBI did an investigation and came out here in a couple weeks, or maybe even for them, it'll probably be a couple days, and say that the young man the assassin who tried to take President Trump's life and subsequently ended up taking a gentleman's life, Corey Kampor, I can never say his name.
Comparatori.
Yes, thank you. Kapatori. I need to learn that and put that in my mind. Obviously, that was something that was very emotional about the RNC and how his fellow firefighters rolled out his jacket, his retardant jacket and his helmet, and President Trump went over there and memorialized it, obviously, and yeah, I mean that in of itself, Kapatori. I hope I said that right. But this young man took someone's life, almost took the president's life. We don't know if he acted alone. We don't even have hardly any facts because it was such a colossal, and I use that word because I think it states the totality of this thing, colossal failure by the Secret Service and all the security agencies. If they came out and they said that this young man acted alone, I'm not going to believe them. In fact, I've come to the conclusion that no matter what the mainstream media says or what the federal government says at this point, I'm believing the opposite until proven otherwise. Because why would we believe anything they say? I mean, the latest is now, and I don't have the clip, I thought I did, but the latest is, and as simple as it is that Kamala Harris wasn't the czar of the border czar. Come on. There is video evidence and proof. And even Axios had to come back and recant that and say, yes, we were one of the people that called her the czar, but no, she really wasn't. She had a different responsibility. So there is no, I don't even know, because this isn't part of who I am. I don't even know how you can sit back and lie to people over and over and over again.
It takes a special kind of person to do that.
No, I think it's more than special. I think it's demonic possession. I think that people who are it's evil. It's evil. And here's the reason why. I remember as a young Catholic boy, that's how I grew up. I grew up in the Catholic faith tradition. And I remember the guilt and the shame I felt for breaking any of the commandments, sinning in any manner, because that was, one of the teachings of the church is reconciliation, asking for forgiveness of your sins. So when I did something wrong, I truly felt that I was grieved by that. I felt shame.
Yeah. You feel
I felt
guilty
a
about doing
need.
something.
I felt guilt.
Mhm.
I felt all of the emotions of doing something, because most of the time it wasn't only something that would hurt me, but it would hurt others.
Yeah.
And we know that the two greatest commandments exist: love your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. And the second one is just as important: love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Mhm.
Well, obviously you're not loving someone very well if you're continuing to lie to them over and over and over again. So that only brings me to one conclusion. In the immortal words of the church lady, could it be Satan? And I don't know what else to say other than, could it be Satan? Because how does anyone sit back and take any of these folks seriously when they continue to perpetuate lie after lie? Last week, there was nothing wrong with Joe. Everybody was all on board with Joe. Like we just mentioned, James Clyburn, South Carolina congressman, who for some reason is like the guy that everyone looks to when it comes to the black vote, even though for months we have been saying that Joe Biden wouldn't be the nominee. The Democrat Party was like, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with Joe.
Yeah.
Joe is our guy. We are riding with Biden.
I've got a clip.
Have you got one?
Yeah, I've got one of explaining that from the horse's mouth. If you want to show it.
Yeah. No, well, anytime. You don't have to ask me permission.
Yeah.
I rely upon you to do these things, Ryan.
I kind of on the fly as you're starting
And so
to go
do
into
all
your.
these wonderful people that have joined us today. There's Sarah Froberg. Sarah, I hope you're continuing to do well. Obviously, prayers for Sarah. She is going through somewhat of a health crisis. I don't know if I'm at liberty to mention all the things that are going on with her. And then, of course, this beautiful person right here. Hey there, busy week with the news. Lots of stuff happening. You've got it. And then Sarah, again, definitely. I'm reading a book called Keep the Faith by Dr. David Jeremiah. Very good read. And good choice. I'm eager to read Chasing Embers by Glenn Beck. Oh, they're having a conversation without us just on the side. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. But go ahead. You got the clip. Do I need to hit it?
Yep. If you want to add it to the stage.
Yep, I got it.
All right. So here from Maze Moore on Twitter, shout out to him for putting this together.
Oh yes, I just saw this.
So as you were saying, we didn't know if he was going to be the candidate or not. We had thoughts that maybe he wouldn't be by the time November rolled around. I certainly said it before that he wasn't going to be the candidate. But he himself, up until July 12th, the day before the assassination attempt, was very adamant about not stepping down. So the guy that told you, I'm all about country over myself and my self-indulgence of staying in. This was July 12th, and then July 24th is when he decided to call it out.
What's Joe Biden going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? Here's my answer. I am running, and we're going to win. I'm not going to change that.
You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this
12
critical
days.
endeavor. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
Oh,
Best way to unite.
there you go. Did he really pass the torch, though?
No, Joe
was
Biden
it
did.
beaten from him and taken from him?
Joe. There was no passing of anything, Joe. In fact, if there is a passing, he's been passed over. Which, not to relate that to our faith tradition, the Passover, but
the Passover of Joe to the Democrat Party.
The Passover of Joe to the Democrat Party. Yeah, I see Cap Peterson out there. Go DTB. DPB. Hey, Kat, anytime you want, jump on board. I know you have the controls to do that. We'd love for you to jump in and comment. You don't have to join the chat room. You can physically show, well, not physically, your avatar can show up here on screen. But would love to have you just jump in. I know that I'd love to hear your take on this, because you are of the media, Kat. You have been living this, walking this out, not only in Springfield, but on your show, Conservative Cat, formerly The Morning Buzz. Kat, you've hit this over and over and over again. And we've all played these videos, which is surprising. My wife was telling me about a scenario at the bank today where there was a little lady in the teller line, and she was telling the teller, because of course she wanted to virtue signal, that the country is not in very good shape and it's just one side of the party that's having the problems. And of course she was alluding to the fact that she believed that there was a good candidate now in Kamala. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Kamala is going to appeal to certain people.
Yeah.
And she is, but she doesn't appeal to the Democrats. If she appealed to the Democrats, she would have never have failed at the rate she did trying to become the nominee.
Yeah, she would have
back
been
in
going for the
2020.
incumbency. That's what she would have done, running for re-election, if she
So-
didn't fail.
So Joe was their guy
Mhm.
until Joe was not their guy.
Yeah, the
And
most
now
popular
Kamala
candidate in the world.
is their gal, if
Yeah.
I can say that without being called misogynist.
Well, you're
and-
not a biologist, DPB. You can't
Well,
say for certain. She may
You're s-
identify as
well,
one, but
well,
she may
if-
not feel
well,
that way.
Let's do this. Let's just call her Kamala then.
There you go.
I just don't even have to try to be gender specific or use her pronouns. I will just use her name, Kamala Harris. And so what we do know is that this drumbeat is going to continue. They're not going to let up. They're trying to do everything, as we started to say earlier, to get her off the launch pad. She does not have any traction, no traction whatsoever. I know I had something pulled up here. I just want to make sure that, I didn't have.
I have the clip if you want to. You were talking about the media. lying.
Hey, will you stop asking me about the clips? You just drop
Hey,
it up
it's
there. and I'll
your
put it-
show. I am here for the ride, man.
Wait a second. Now, Ryan, I understand. Okay, hey, I'm sure the audience is going to appreciate this. We do appreciate you all joining us here at the DPB show, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 to 5 live. Ryan, I get it that I have the first seat on the DPB show, but you're in the second seat on the DPB show. And if you had me on your show, then you would be in the first seat and I would be in the second seat. And if Kat were to come on right now, she would be in the second seat, third seat. There'd be 3 of us, so I don't know how that works. I still think it's the second seat. But Ryan, the reason, and I know that I don't want to go too far down, the rabbit hole of why it is I do what I do. I don't do this because I believe I'm going to someday be the next Rush Limbaugh or Dan Bongino or Glenn Beck or any of them. I do this because there's a void. There's a chasm here in Illinois. Obviously, we are in one of the most progressive liberal states in the union outside of New York and California. We're right here in the heartland. And we are sadly missing conservative commentary, opinionators. And when I was asked to get on the radio at Cities 92.9, I didn't know what was happening. I'd never been on radio. In fact, I was taking what God was leading me to do, running for office, getting on the radio, in order to see, how it is we can continue to lean into this, to raise up young warriors like yourself, Ryan, like Kat Peterson, like Kevin Ferris, like Ty Smith, like Paul Garcia, and the list keeps going on and on. Josh Bender was in there for a period of time. So I consider it an honor as I continue to see more and more young people, putting themselves out there, because it's not easy. Believe me, you're going to battle. I mean, this is what we face every day. I think I put up my quote today, and I should share that with everybody. I don't have it right handy. I guess I do, because I have it here on Facebook. I can read it to you because I have technology that lets me do that. Let's see if I can truly get to it without because it is a wonderful quote. It's
The one you had this morning.
yeah.
Yeah,
Here,
really good.
I actually can share it. I probably should go about doing that, because that way everybody can see, and I can put it up there without reading it. It's fascinating what you can do. And as I'm clicking buttons and getting to screens, here it is. Add to the stage.
Look at that.
For we who live are constantly being given up to death for the sake of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may be manifested in our mortal flesh. That's what we're up against. That comes from just, I want to cite my source. That is from 2 Corinthians. I think it's chapter 4, but hold on. Yep. Chapter 4, verses 7 through 15. But that says it all. And I know I went off on a tangent here, because this does relate to the latest media lies.
Mhm.
We need truth tellers. Truth tellers are not going to be bought and paid for by one of the political parties. I don't care if I were being paid by the Republican Party, then I should disclose that to you.
Right.
I'm not being paid by the Republican Party to
Yeah.
come out here and say these things.
Mhm.
Those folks are being indirectly monetized by the Democrat Party. In fact, they are monetized in a manner that deals with airtime, the ability to walk around that space that they kind of control. When it comes to cable news, there's no question that they have a big footprint. In fact, I know that it's been published many times over that over 90%, I think it even is higher than 95% of journalists say they side with the progressive Marxist socialist movement. They're Democrats. That's just the way it is. So when we have such a small minority of people who are out there, like the Dan Bonginos, the Glenn Becks, the Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins, and don't be mistaken, those guys are very conservative. They just do it in a way that's more humorous, and they're fun. I enjoy listening to Scott and Jamie and David. They have done something that is just flat out. I think it's awesome.
It brings a new element to the game for sure. When instead you just have conservative voices who are just blistering the left in a different way, and they're using comedy and their sarcastic the ways of doing it. They're ripping them from comedy's perspective.
How does my letters from Trump book look?
Looks really good.
And I do want to get back to where we were at.
Yeah.
This is why I think Ryan told me I should place it there. Ryan, get the video up so I can share it.
All right. So we're talking about media lying.
You get up and I'm gonna let you set it up.
All right.
It's critical that we find more and more of you that would like to be in this space, because we don't have enough voices getting the word out. As I shared with you, as I opened up the show, we still have people who are convinced that the down ballot races are so critical. You know what? Let me speak clearly to this. Down ballot races mean nothing if Trump's not the president.
Yep.
It is game over November 6th if Trump isn't the president. I don't care if you're a county board, state rep, state senator, congressman, U.S. senator.
Yeah.
It is game over if the Democrats get another 4 years in the White House. Because I guarantee you, as President Trump says, the one thing they do well is cheat. And that's what they're moving towards right now. They don't have a map to victory. They don't have a road to victory other than stuffing the ballot box.
And I don't want to hear the red
So
wave
if you
talk
think
either.
that, well, and you're right, because
We can't
have
underestimate
to-
this candidate.
we can't
can't sit there
underestimate
and
anybody.
follow the polls.
Because ultimately it's all about, they know now how to manipulate the
Mhm.
bellwether counties, the areas where they have to have a margin of victory in order to flip the election.
Yep.
That's what they're going to do. We have to be vigilant. As I said, I love that word. I'm going to continue to use it. We have to be vigilant, that we need to become poll watchers. We need to become election judges. We need to be out on the streets voicing our opinion, saying, no, it's broken. Illinois is broken. The United States of America is broken. Contrary to what you hear on the media, as they continue to do the HR puffing stuff, which is what it is, because all they're doing is puffing when they say that the economy we're leading the world or economically. That is not true. We'll always lead the world economically, because what does the rest of the world look like? I don't want to be compared with the rest of the world. So many nations are, if you think the prices are out of control here, go and look at the abject poverty in some of these countries and what they're facing. There is a reason that people are dying to get into the United States of America. They're not dying to get into Iran. They're not dying to get into the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
They're not.
They're fleeing those places.
They are dying if they're in the Gaza Strips, because unfortunately the terrorists have taken over such huge chunks of our world. But this is what we're up against. Go ahead, set it up, Brian.
Yep. Okay. So the left loves to rewrite history, and they love to use media to do it, right? And one way to do it is use the media to kind of put out the message, oh, well, we didn't say that she was the border czar, and she's not the border czar now. She was never the border czar. But just under 2 years ago, and when he was selected, he named her in charge of the border. Whether you call her a border czar or a delegation, whatever it was, she was in charge. And you have the media lying and coming out and saying, no, she was never in charge. She was finding the root causes. So we have a 1:12 clip. This has been all over X by different people. But this is originally, I think MRC put this out, this mash. And originally it was Axios saying that, she was named the border czar, and then they had to cut out their own article because it wasn't true, because they actually named her the border czar. So here's about 1:12 of before and after Biden dropping out.
Border czar. Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People are going to have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been some criticism against Kamala Harris. She was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
Okay,
if
so
you weren't gonna make her in charge of the border, why would you call her border czar?
That's right. So, and I've got another clip, and I want to play it here in a second, because this goes to show you the desperation. This is what I wanted to come on here today and cover with you guys. These folks are in full meltdown mode. They're in full meltdown mode. Last week, I was there in the Fiserv Arena in Milwaukee, the RNC convention, electrifying. They saw themselves get steamrolled. Go back in time a little bit to the debate. We know what happened. They instantly started saying, we are in trouble. Okay, Here's the analogy I want to give you. And this is why it's important that we stay laser focused on the cause to save America, to make America great again. The analogy goes like this. It was halftime, or maybe the end of the third quarter, and we were up 40-0. Pretty much guaranteed the victory, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it all looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, a bubble in the backfield, and the defensive lineman picks it up and stumbles into the end zone. They scored. Now, all of a sudden, they truly believe there might be a chance to win the game. They just have to put together 5 more touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where the Democrat Party is at this point. They have nothing to lose. They have been, as President Trump said in his rally, he's already beat Joe Biden. If that weren't the case, he wouldn't be out.
Mm-hmm.
But he should have never been their nominee because he wasn't up to the task. They've known this because this is part of what they've been doing for the last 2-3 years. When did the decline start? The decline started just about the time that he was running for office in 2020. They were having episodes in 2019. In fact, Tucker Carlson talks about it, how openly people were talking about it in his community where he lived around these folks, the lifestyles of the rich and famous, right? And it was known that the family was struggling, what they were going to do with old Uncle Joe, because Joe was declining in his health, in his mental acuity. In 2019, they were able to get him into the presidency through a series of utilizing the media, big tech, and the ballot box. They stuffed the ballot box.
Mm-hmm.
We know they did that. They flipped votes in critical counties in order to overcome the margin of victory. Joe Biden, the man who was deemed not fit to stand trial because of his senility, received 81 million votes, more votes than any presidential candidate in the history of elections. Sorry, folks. That's what we're up against.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be vigilant. They are desperate. When people are desperate, desperate people do desperate things. That's why I keep reminding you that you ain't seen nothing yet. But baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. They're going to give us something that we're never going to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have a path to victory. That diatribe you just saw was evidence of that. Let me get this onto stage, and this is actually, I think, am I in the right place here? No, that was. Look at, here it is. Let's watch it again.
You have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
And I haven't been to Europe either.
I don't understand the point that you're making.
The point is you're the borders
To
on.
Europe? Are you kidding me? What does that have to do with anything?
The vice president being ripped for this tone-deaf reaction to the growing crisis.
Do you plan to visit the border?
Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
A very unserious person about an incredibly serious crisis.
The White House has no idea what border czar Kamala Harris is doing about the migrant surge.
When are you going to the border, Vice President?
Administration has asked. I'm not finished. I've said I'm going to the border.
Kamala Harris has been put in charge of trying to figure out the root causes, why all those people from Central America come here.
In 2017, she tweeted, "Say it loud, say it clear.
everyone is welcome here.
She was given this job. She doesn't take it seriously.
Overall, we are seeing progress.
Laken Riley, her accused killer, came to the U.S. illegally.
Is in the country illegally when he murdered that officer.
The illegal immigrant now accused of killing a mother and son while driving drunk.
An undocumented immigrant convicted of rape.
An 18-year-old illegal immigrant on a rape charge in Hicksville, Ohio.
Officials in Texas have seized more than 400 million doses of fentanyl.
Still no plans for Vice President Kamala Harris to go visit the border.
I've been to the border before. I will go again.
She hasn't been as vice
When?
president, though. She's pandering to her own
Still hasn't been.
base. That's what this administration does.
It is ridiculous. Obviously, it is embarrassing for America that this is our vice president.
Minute 54, that's a pretty powerful message. Let's just put that on loop. Bottom line is, as much as they're going to try to run from the truth, and that's what it is, the left, the Democrat Party, doesn't know the truth. They have to run from the truth. They have to manufacture a truth, not the truth, the truth, because they have no other way out. That's why I want everyone to like and share the DPB show, the Ryan Mack show, Pat Peterson, the Conservative Cat Show, the Modern Renaissance Man, Ty Smith, Kevin Ferris. Kevin did some cool stuff the other day. I haven't had an opportunity to listen to it in the totality, but Kevin's still banging stuff out, you know. He's putting it out there, and we need to surround the people who are voicing this, who are showing it, because ultimately some of these people are just in a trance.
Yeah.
And I know that it's a demonic trance that they're in, because they truly believe when these people start speaking, they just said the opposite 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. It's not like it was something, you know, and then they are retracting. Media sources are saying, no, we published that wrong. She's not the border czar. No.
Finding root causes.
Yeah. Look at Bob. Bob, I owe you a phone call. Sorry, buddy. I was supposed to call you back yesterday. I got swamped. I also, I'm here, DPB. Put your hat on. I don't have my sunglasses on. Laugh out loud. Don't worry, Bob.
You know,
I have my hat. There's my good old American made in America flag hat.
There you go. When all this is going on, the election with 2020, what happened to Big Steal and the media lies, I'm reminded of the Dinesh D'Souza movie, Clinton's America. If you haven't seen it, go rewatch it. It's available probably anywhere you can stream it or find it online. Clinton's America. It's a foretelling of what it would have been like had Hillary Clinton won the election against Trump. And in the movie, in his documentary, he's talking about how his time in the day camp where he had some violations of campaign violations, but he was inside talking to people in the jail about what it is the Democrats' message was back then. And basically, he told us a story. There's 4 things: plan, pitch, take, deny. And what did that mean? Plan. They have a plan to steal the election, take the election, to keep power. How do they do it? They have to pitch, build back better. That we are the party for the people. We are the party for nobody's going to pay more than, this amount of taxes except for the rich.
Everybody's going to get health insurance. Everybody's welcome in the country. Yes.
Trump and MAGA are Hitler.
Yes.
They're going to pitch that. They're going to take
Dictator from day one.
Yeah, they're going to take the election,
one.
Take it by however means necessary, whether media spinning or censoring their opponents, censoring their message, putting Trump in jail, making sure his life isn't really there anymore. That's what they do. And that's how they take it. Then they deny. 2020, what they say, the fairest and most equal election of all. There's most secure, no questions asked. If you do, you're a Nazi. You're an election denier. Plan, pitch, take, deny. And I think it started under Obama and it's gone through now. That is their plan for staying in power. And it was started out as a documentary, but you can see how they do it in just different phases. This is the Democrat Party we're dealing with.
Wow, man, I just had a whole big screen of just you and I, and it still had my little. I'm exploring things. I'm finding things here.
Playing with it.
I'm learning as I go. I want to get you back on Solo Layout because I want to find. Well, forget that. I won't find it. If you can find it, Ryan.
What's that?
The video where Ted Cruz went to the border and visited the border during Trump, and they were saying something about the cages that Trump was putting people in, and we come to find out that it was all a hoax once again because it originated from the Democrat Party, because those were Obama's cages. And then they had to all recant. Okay, yes, you got us, you caught us. Those weren't Trump's cages. Those were built by Obama. And they wouldn't even let Ted Cruz film what was going on there because they didn't want the truth. You know, in the immortal words of Jack Nicholson. Not A Few Good Men, but what is the name of that film? Oh gosh, I just drew a blank. Not A Few Good Men, because that was the one with Richard Gere. Few Good. It was You Can't Handle the Truth. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
It's help us out, commenters.
Yeah, Tom Cruise. I just said it the other day. How did I draw a blank? Because I have too much stuff in my head. The last 11 days have been overdrive. If you think the Democrats are in meltdown, they don't know how to spin it fast enough.
Yep. Was this a recent trip that he took? How recent?
No, it wasn't. This was a few years
Was this 2021 in April?
It could have been.
Video, he's only video I've seen so far talking about kids in cages.
Yeah, it could be. It could be Ted Cruz was trying to get to the bottom of it.
There's about a minute 19, and it said Democrats don't want to acknowledge that it was Obama who built the cages, and now Joe Biden's making it big.
That you've got it. That is it. That is it.
Okay,
you're going to get it up for us.
Yep.
Thank you. Not A Few Good Men. No, yes, it was A Few Good Men because it was an officer and a gentleman. I'm getting everything confused today. Richard Gere was an officer and a gentleman with Lou Gossett Jr. Son, only two kinds of something, two kinds of cows or something from Oklahoma. Steers and queers.
Yeah.
You don't have no horns, boy, so you must be one of those queers. I don't know if he could get away saying that. That is not compliant with,
all right. So
I got to add it to the stage.
Okay. This was from 2021. So speaking of the media lying and what we're talking about today, the media lied for going on 10 plus years about who actually built the cages at the border. And these were migrant facilities, and Obama had set these up, but they pinned it on Trump the entire time. Instead of actually going down there and seeing for themselves, they just pinned the blame on Trump because Trump bad and Orange Man bad and Hitler. But here are actual conservatives.
You're talking Orange Man. No, you got to clarify that. You got to quantify that or clarify.
This is Ted Cruz.
When you talk about Orange Man, you're not talking about Joe Biden last night. You're talking about
Man bad.
That's right, Tangerine Man. Hey, Mr. Tangerine Man, play us some.
This is Ted Cruz. This is a 2021 video. He was explaining the difference of who really built these facilities, and the media is lying about it. Maybe.
Oh, your audio's off.
Yeah, I don't know why it's. There's no sound in the video.
We're being censored.
Anyway, well, let me try again.
Try loading it again. See if it happens. Hey, Chris. Thank you. Chris Chatburn on the comment section. A Few Good Men. I knew you guys, that's what's awesome about this format. You can be here with us for an hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays, whether it be Facebook, X, Rumble, or YouTube. And you can be part of the show. We want you to be part of the show because we don't know it all. I want you to ask questions. In fact, hold on. Let me get my banner out. Got a question? Put it in the comments. Look at that, Ryan. Thank you. But Yeah, Chris, it's good to see you. Thank you once again for the comment. And Bob says, yes, it was a few good men. Thank you, guys. And Chris, yes, thank you. Love the smiles, because this is what it's about. It's us. If it's going to be, it's pretty much us.
Yep.
Should I add it? You
Yeah,
got it?
I think this is so. It was like a Fox feed, but it put to a different website. So it's from 2021. He's going down on the border and discussing the cages.
And they actually
Finding a
block
certified
his
pre-owned
view.
vehicle you want can be a challenge, but Clark Knapp Honda makes it simple. We put
Oh,
all our certified
hold
pre-owned
on.
Hondas
Clark
through a
Knapp
rigorous
Honda.
inspection process.
We got a
offer
little
extended
commercial.
warranties and
We're not
service.
getting paid for this,
In
by the
short,
way.
we make it simple to drive out your pre-loved Honda you've had in your
Clark
own.
Knapp,
Clark
if you
Knapp Honda.
sell any
So
cars
give it
based on the DPB show, you owe me commission. Go ahead.
Tens of thousands of people are coming to our border. We know that. And so the majority of adults are being turned away.
That was a White House press secretary earlier today, and she was repeating this.
The overwhelming majority of people coming to the border and crossing are being sent back.
Oh, okay.
He said that the great majority of families who come here illegally are being sent back. That's not true.
Ted Cruz is shaking
and
his head
either
no.
He doesn't know it or won't admit it to the American people.
Republican senators now calling out the president for what they say is a mess that could have been avoided.
Many of them here in the Valley today, among the things they told
Yeah, so obviously it goes on for a little bit, but they did see the border. They themselves visited firsthand how bad it was. And instead of going down there themselves, Biden and Kamala have gone down to the safer areas of Texas and that have not been overrun by the Border Patrol and the southern border. And they have not seen the worst parts of that border. This is entirely their fault, and the media is complicit in lying about it and calling it Trump's problem.
Well, and the point being, and I know that wasn't the exact video because I was thinking of another one, and I'll try pulling it up because we're up against the end of the hour, and I don't like to keep you guys longer than an hour. Why? Because I don't even like to listen to myself for an hour. I'd rather listen to Ryan and Dan Bongino and people like that, Kevin Ferris. But the whole emphasis today on the show is to let you guys know the media is twisting and turning. As I said earlier, we are winning.
Mm-hmm.
We are winning this election. They know it. They can't do anything to stop the Trump train, the grassroots movement, the Make America Great Again. Why is that such a terrible thing? Why is it terrible to make America better than what it is right now? People are really struggling. People are hurting. Our economy is in a free fall. Our border is wide open. We are not energy independent. Gas right now, my wife was going back and forth, is well over $3 a gallon where I live. You get up into the metropolitan areas and it's well over $4, closer to $5 a gallon. It's not going to get better, especially now because they're on the run, because they have done so many things to destroy our economy. The Green New Deal is legit. Kamala Harris wanted us to be totally hooked into getting rid of combustible engines by 2030. She wanted all EV cars by 2030. She was one of the most progressive liberal senators. They're running from that now. They're trying to get that retracted. They can't run on their record. Stop. Don't buy into any of this thing that you're a racist or a homophobic or a xenophobic or a misogynist or any of the other catchphrases, a racist, that they throw out there. That's all they have. The American people have seen it. As I mentioned earlier, the young man that saw me carrying the Trump sign into the county fair, raising his hand saying, that's his man. This young man knows to get off of that scooter and to have a better way of life. Not that I don't know his socioeconomic status, but we can pretty much connect the dots. His future isn't bright under Biden, Harris, Obama, Clinton, any of them. Those folks have to have control. They have to have power. They can't exist without power, dictating to you how we should live. That's not what America is. All right. 59:36. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you guys. I don't even know what to expect come Tuesday. If there's something that's just over the top, I'll try to jump on and create a StreamYard from home and do it. And I'll even invite Ryan to come and join me. But folks, what we've experienced in the last 11, 12 days, don't take the word of anyone other than people who you know and you can trust. You cannot trust our government. You cannot trust the media. It's sad, but it's been that way for a while.
Yep.
They've been lying to us for so long, and they've gotten so good at it. In fact, when you listen to them, sometimes you're like, wow, they're really good at lying. It's because, and so I'm gonna have to differ with President Trump on one thing. The Democrats aren't only good at cheating at elections, they're also really good at lying.
Yep.
They've mastered lying. All right. I love you. Jesus loves you more. Ryan loves you. Until next Tuesday or before, we will see you then. Farewell, everyone.
See you guys.